Hello everybody and welcome back to 10 Minute Reviews. I'm Jason, bringing you today's video. My fuzzy co-star just decided to F off, so she didn't want to appear in this video. And yeah, bringing you another video. Another author for you guys to read, another book for you guys to read. Excuse me. As always, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. We're a small family channel that just love to talk about books. That's what we want to do. We want to talk about books. We want to talk about new authors. And yeah, the crazy puppy found a bottle cap. She loves those things. So if you see a bottle cap go flying by, you'll see a fuzzy blur right behind it. Such a bottle cap, baby. So yeah, we'd appreciate any support you guys want to give. Like, subscribe. Those would be absolutely awesome. We're going to keep doing this anyway. We just love to bring people new books. So I want to talk about an author I've talked about in the past. Andrew Vachss. Andrew Vachss is a very, very fascinating author. He's different than a lot of the other authors that we've talked about. That his genre is definitely not fantasy, definitely not sci-fi. Almost crosses into mystery in a way. He's more very noirish and very dark. Very dark. Andrew Vachss himself is actually a practicing attorney, or he was. I don't know, I'm not sure if he still is. He's had plenty of big books, so he might not need to, but he's an attorney that, practicing attorney that mostly represents children. And because of that, he's seen some fairly dark stuff. And that is reflected in his writing. Most of his characters are criminals with a strong moral code when it comes to children, family, and loyalty. But when he refers to family, he does not refer to the family of birth, he refers to the family of choice. Most of Andrew Vachss' characters, they have their families, but it's their chosen family, their family of choice. What most of us would call friends, only very few people are actually as loyal to their friends as Andrew Vachss' characters are. So, interesting. Now, you could, of course, jump into his Burke series. We've talked about his Burke series, but if you're new to Andrew Vachss, I actually would recommend Two Trains Running. Two Trains Running. It's an interesting book, because it's not part of a series. It's not part of a series, but it is still very dark and very noirish. And it follows a criminal-ish guy named Walker Dett. He's basically a gunfighter. Now unlike some of his other books, Two Trains Running kind of goes back a little bit in time. I'm not talking 1900s, but it goes back a little bit, and Walker Dett, again, he's a gunfighter. He's a traveling gunfighter. He's almost known as a problem solver. Not really an assassin. He definitely kills people. Absolutely kills people. But less of an assassin, more of a problem solver. You have to know people in order to hire him. You have to know people in order to get his phone number in order to hire him. And his reputation within certain circles, very well known, considered very, very dangerous, very mysterious, very dangerous. So he comes to this small little town. Because he's supposed to help this criminal organization against another criminal organization. That is pretty much what he does. Again, he's a criminal problem solver. But there is, of course, more to the story with Walker Dett. He is, as eventually gets revealed, he is a man on a mission. He's a man on a mission. He's not, while he is a criminal as far as the law is concerned, he's not necessarily a criminal. I mean, if he's hired to, like in this book, hired by one criminal organization to help eliminate another criminal organization, and yet he manages to take both criminal organizations down over time, very tactically, very strategically. Of course, when he has to shoot, he shoots. When he has to pull out the guns, he pulls out the guns. But he's very good at manipulation. He's very, very good at manipulation. He's very, very good at using his reputation to manipulate as well. But mostly he's just good at manipulation. He's good at manipulation. He's good at manipulating people, good at manipulating situations, good at creating situations. He creates situations that he's able to manipulate both sides exactly how he wants them to in response to a situation that he himself created. And then their responses creates a whole new situation that he's then able to turn around to create new situations that eventually works to the detriment of everybody involved, except for Walker Dead. And of course, he ends up in some pretty hairy situations at times, but he manages to come out on top more often than not, and typically due to planning. And Andrew Vachss always puts in the smallest details to. He's lately, outside of his Burke novels, he's lately started putting in a little bit of mystical into it, which I'm not a huge fan of, which is weird for someone that's a huge fan of sci-fi. But when you've got a noir grounded book, I prefer that we stick to the reality and the real world type of stuff that is in these books. And in this case, in Two Trains Running, while he does bring in little things, it's less that it's mystical stuff and more playing off people's superstitions. For instance, now again, this occurs decades ago, so we're talking in the time frame where elevators still had manual operators pulling the levers and stuff like that. So, you know, back around that time frame, and you know, he uses things like voodoo dolls to scare off some people based off their superstitions. No magic involved. He likes a lot of misdirection. Andrew Vachss puts those little details in there such cool ways. For instance, when Walker Dead first checks into his hotel room, you know, he's semi-mysterious. Looks like a traveling salesman, but he's not. But he's semi-mysterious, and he does the most minor things, like getting the not really concierge, getting the valet, I suppose, to go buy him a bottle of whiskey. Bring a bottle of whiskey that he brings up to the room, that he then pours you know, a couple of glasses of, and then pours down the drain. And then it shows later that as people are trying to get information on him from, you know, these criminal organizations that he's either working for, or working against both, they start asking the maids and the valets. You know, the maids say, well, you know, he drank, you know, every night he's drinking about a quarter of a bottle of whiskey every single night, so he's got a little bit of a drinking problem. Never touches it, but he builds these little things in there to throw people off. And Andrew Vachss is really good at putting those small little twists and ideas and details in. So again, if you like noir, mystery, definitely darker stuff, but very fascinating. Andrew Vachss's writing style is incredible. It's very difficult to put down. You guys should check out Two Trains Running. It's a great introduction to his writing style. Eventually, later I'm going to talk about one of his books of short stories, but if you want a full-blown novel, Two Trains Running, great introduction to Andrew Vachss. And if it turns out you like it, and I think you will, then you can check out the Burke series. Thank you everybody for watching. We'll catch you next time. Bye now.